What's up, guys? My name is Zach, and today I am driving a 2023 Volvo XC40 Recharge. Down below are two electric motors. That's where the twin name comes from, and I am super excited to be making this video because I have spent the last 7 days driving this car. I like a lot of things. I don't like a couple of things, and so that's what we're going to be talking about today. But if you'd like to share your vehicle with me, you can head on over to my website, zackpradle.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form, takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. But let's get back to that dual motor setup. So altogether, this makes 402 horsepower, which is insane. This is quick. And that has been one of the most fun parts of driving the XC40 around for the last week, is just how quick it's been. I gave up a Toyota Supra to drive this car for a week, and this is a lot faster and nearly an identical price tag. Now, because it has dual motors, it is all-wheel drive. There's one motor at the front and one motor at the back, paired to a 78 kilowatt lithium-ion battery and a single-speed automatic transmission. Now, what's on everyone's mind is range. Well, the EPA estimates this to have 223 miles of range on a full charge. For an in-town car, that's not too bad. I've definitely seen better. I've also seen worse. So it really places the XC40 kind of in the middle, but I did take this car on a mini road trip, if you will. I filmed some reviews that were about an hour and a half away, and here's a visual breakdown of that day, how I recharged, how much battery percentage was used. So please leave a comment if graphs like this are helpful, if infographics like this are helpful. If you want to see more of these, I can definitely do that, but this was my experience during one day. This vehicle does allow for quick charging, and funny enough, I actually pulled up to a charger the other day, and there were two other Volvo C40s already parked there. So these vehicles are already becoming pretty popular. Now, what's slightly frustrating is that Volvo calls this the Recharge, the XC40 Recharge, which means EV. However, with the S60 and XC90 that I had, those were also recharges, but that means plug-in hybrid. So how does it feel to drive the fully electric XC40? Well, it's actually a really nice driving experience. The biggest thing is the interior is really, really nice, and I like that, so we'll talk about that a little bit later on. I have great visibility out the front, not fantastic out the back, but pretty good. Steering is heavy enough, and I can also change that as well. I can one-pedal drive, and when you stick it to the floor, you go for quite the little ride, so I really, really do enjoy that. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have a completely digital gauge cluster. Off to the left is my speed, off to the right is my power usage. So when you're on the brakes, it's going to charge with the regenerative braking. When you're on the accelerator pedal, it's going to be up in that power mode. I also do get an optionable map in the center of the gauge cluster, or you can take a look at your trip info or just leave it blank. On the steering wheel, on the left, I have my adaptive cruise options. This will also work with steering assist. Off to the right, I do have my skip track, volume, voice commands, and page icon. And the overall steering wheel has been pretty comfortable and enjoyable to use. Off to the left, I do have a giant climate control vent. And on the door, I have my Harman Kardon speakers, memory seat options, power locks, power mirrors, and power windows. Moving into the center, we have a giant infotainment system. Now, this is very easy to use. It does have Apple CarPlay, which I really enjoy, and Android Auto. However, they are not wireless. Now, this is actually the only place where the vehicle will actually tell you your mileage in terms of charge. The gauge cluster just shows a battery percentage. You have to have this page open if you want to know exact miles that you have left on your charge, which is pretty annoying. I wish that I could put that in my cluster. I do get a 360 camera, which is fantastic. I absolutely love this for trying to park it in my very packed driveway, and all of the climate controls are ran through this screen. However, I find that to be a very big downside. There are no physical climate controls. Now, they're easily accessible down at the bottom of the screen, but if you're navigating with Google Maps through Apple CarPlay, or if you're trying to select music and you also want to change the temperature, you have to back out, go change the temperature, then go back, find your way back to Apple CarPlay, and then resume. This got very, very tricky on the highway when I wanted to just turn the fan speed up, and my exit was approaching soon. I had to quickly then back out of it, try to find my maps again, make sure I was taking the right exit, and all of that. So it's a lot of headache that doesn't necessarily have to be there just by having the climate controls ran through the screen without physical buttons. Speaking of physical buttons, though, we do have some down below. We have the hazard switch, defrosters, volume and play, and skip track, and that's it. One strange thing is that if you look off to the left of the screen and those buttons, there's a spot that would be the ignition switch on the gasoline-powered XC40. This car does not have an on-off switch. You get in with the key, you get out with the key, it turns on and off when it senses that you're in the vehicle. This can both be really, really awesome, very futuristic, and also be really annoying. So just something to be aware of, there's no on-off button. Then we do have two USB-Cs as well as a 12-volt outlet. Then we do get a wireless charger down below, which is nice. However, I have not had the opportunity to use it because Apple CarPlay is wired. So kind of redundant there. I guess your passenger can charge their phone, but if you're going to use your phone, it's going to be plugged in anyway. Then we move down to the center console. We do have this little openable cubby, very, very tiny, not really sure the purpose. Then we have the crystal shift knob. I love this in Volvos. I've had several Volvo press cars with this shifter and I've loved it every time. However, off to the right, we do have cup holders, so we will do a big friggin' bottle test here in the Volvo XC40 Recharge. And unfortunately it fails. Most modern Volvos do, so no surprise there. Then we do have a little trash can built into the center console. I really, really like this, and you can actually remove it to then dump it out. But if you have like little wrappers, straw wrappers, gum wrappers, receipts that you want to throw away, but you want to keep your interior kind of clean, they actually give you a little trash can. And when it is removed, you can drive around with it removed. There's just this kind of awkward gap, but not the end of the world. So definitely nice that they give you that option. Speaking of which, the center console, nothing really in there. It's, you know, a space to put things. However, before we talk about the seats, I do want to talk about the dashboard. There is this really cool pattern that goes across the dashboard. It's like different levels of terrain, which I found really, really fun. But then the first night that I had the car, I turned it on and was in for quite the shock when it all lit up. And those levels of terrain are actually different thicknesses of plastic, and so the light shines through them in a different way, sort of reiterating that pattern. That is a very, very cool interior touch that I absolutely love about the XC40 Recharge. But moving on to the seats, these are Volvo's wool blended seats, and they are fantastic. They are heated, power, and memory, and I've really enjoyed their comfort. Now, if you spill a drink, you might be up a creek without a paddle, especially a cold brew coffee or something like that. But they look great, they are very, very comfortable, and I think they really classen up the interior without going the run-of-the-mill, taut leather way. I've gotten a lot of compliments on these seats from the people who I've driven around. So it's definitely a conversation starter, it's handsome, it's mature, and that's what I love about these seats. However, speaking of seats, we do have back seats, so let's go do a backseat review. All right, so we're in the back of the 2023 Volvo XC40 Recharge, and the backseat space isn't fantastic. It's not bad, but this is the smallest SUV that Volvo offers, so you're gonna feel that a little bit. My knees, if I try to put them forward, do hit the seat in front of me. I'm 5'11", not a small guy, but just something to note. The center console does fold down. I get two cup holders back there. I also get two climate control vents, two USB-C chargers, and two heated seat options, which I definitely don't need right now because there's no on-off switch with this car, so I got out with the key and it turned off, so I have no AC going on right now. The car is fully off, even though I didn't want it to be off. So that's been fun. But the backseat space is definitely going to be adequate for short trips, things like that. It's fine. Let's get out of this boiling car, hop around back. We'll take a quick look at the trunk and cargo space, then we'll talk about the looks. All right, so we're on the back of the Volvo XC40 Recharge, and we do have a button here on the key fob. Yes, this is the key fob. It is very, very orange. But once we are back here, we have this nice flat loading floor, which I really, really like. We also get a 12-volt outlet over here. We get lights on both sides. Little hooks down here that are body colored, which is pretty cool. But you can take a look at this, fold this up like that, and then you have some more space down below. So really, really cool that is an option. Then you can come up here, you can either close the tailgate or close the tailgate and lock it at the same time. So, just like that, power tailgate right down. Love that feature in the back of the XC40. However, we do have one more piece of cargo space down here. Because this is an EV, we do get a frunk. Now, it is not, oh, by the way, the latch is over here. It's not huge. It's not anything impressive. It's basically big enough to hold the at-home charger, which is what this thick cabled boy is. I mean, look at this bad boy, yeah. So nothing crazy, but you do get a frunk. So if you plan to keep this stuff at home, put some little groceries up here, maybe hide some things from your friends or whatnot. So you do get a frunk, which has a frunk inside of a frunk for the Volvo XC40. Recharge, bring it down. There we go. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and this is finished in sage green, which I first thought was a very flat green. But then if you hit the light right, it actually does have quite a bit of flake in it. So it's a very, very interesting color. And this is a more premium color, which is an almost $700 option. But I would say well worth it. The overall looks of the XC40 are pretty handsome as well. I think it's relatively well proportioned. The front grille is different because it's an EV and not the standard XC40. But I think it's compact. It looks smaller than it is. It's actually pretty big on the inside. And so I really like this XC40. So with that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. How do I feel now driving the Volvo XC40 Recharge for the last 7 days? Well, it's been a mostly positive experience. First of all, the XC40 has done everything I want an EV to do. It's not too brash, different, or weird that people don't understand it. I got into the car and I drove it like a normal car, and it was great. It looks good. It's very comfortable in here. Definitely feels very luxurious, which is nice. And so for $61,000, $62,000, whichever way you want to round, I think you do get your money's worth. And that was a big hesitation for me. But with the interior quality, I think you definitely get that money's worth. With that being said, I cannot recommend enough, please have an at-home charger installed. If you plan on buying one of these, it's gonna make your life so much easier, and that 220 some miles of range is not gonna bother you a single touch. This is a great little EV, and if I had a spot for it in my life, I think I would take it home. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Volvo for loaning me this XC40 Recharge for the last 7 days. Volvo has been very kind to me. They have been fantastic to work with. So huge thank you for that, as well as the entire team over at Drive Shop, and of course the Midwestern Automotive Media Association for making this video possible. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.